heresy meant first Protestantism and then Catholicism. As of Elizabeth, I think, yeah. Elizabeth I, yeah. 19th century, more important for us and for social enterprise, social economy. Socialist revolutions, targeting capitalism. It still had a rather pejorative meaning, but evolving towards taking care of social needs. The word is moved somewhere under the display. In France at that time, the term had a much more positive connotation. It was still called innovation, but in the sense of social-political and social innovation. As of the 19th century, beginning of the 19th century, as I said, the term social innovation becomes a term that is used by itself. So it's interesting to see that we each time made a distinction between the social transformative meaning, the social reform meaning, which was more close to social Christianity, Rerum Novarum later on, for example. Social transformation was much closer to socialism and communism. Micro-social innovations you found both in the Christian social reforms, the cooperatives, as in the more socialist or communist-tempted transformations. And then we go to our contemporary time. We distinguish two big periods in modernity. First, there is the consolidation of the social economy. In the book and in other publications, I stress very much l'histoire de l'économie sociale as a very important historical trajectory of how a social economy can be built through a combination of micro strategies, cooperatives, mutual bakeries, for example, changes in the legal system, creating the legal foundations, the status foundations for the social economy, and very strongly supported by intellectuals, including Pareto and Walras, who were very strong defenders of l'économie sociale as a corrigendum, as a correction to capitalism that had led to the pauperization of large parts of the population. I mean, there is a huge literature on this, and I cannot say much more about this right now. So, consolidation of the social economy, workers and intellectual struggle, culminating in the rise of a mixed economy. That depends on the countries. For Europe, we talk about 50s, 60s. At a local level earlier, you already had limited, small-scale social protection systems back in the 20s, for example, in reaction to the ordeals of the big economic crisis, end of the 20s, early 30s. Then the second period, and this one I have detailed. Oh yeah, that should be 2.4. So I was already afraid I had forgotten one that I have simply misnumbered. Building of the welfare state. And here we can really distinguish, if you like, in 3 or 4 periods. Social and cultural emancipation, 60s and 70s. Emblematic moment, student and worker revolts of end of the 60s, beginning of the 70s. And we know that today there is a big literature trying to nuance what happened there. But I mean, having lived it myself, I think this is really doing wrong to history. What happened to emancipation, to democratization of education, dismantling of patriarchy, it was very significant. Quite a bit has been turned back in recent years, but that's another issue. So this is the 60s and 70s movement. The new urban question, les régions et villes qui perdent, protest movements against new housing problems. We're talking 80s, 90s here. Imported authors, Castells, Lipietz, and many others. Also George Benko. Increasing importance of urban policy instruments. We get a new wave of initiatives that are supported by neighborhood associations, inspired by neighborhood associations, and that lead to new urban policy instruments that even find a translation in European